I'm muted. From Cincinnati, Ohio, and Bowie, Maryland, this is Behind the Bots, the podcast that brings you the stories and the people behind the bots. I'm Jake.
And I'm Brandon.
And today on the podcast, our interview with Team Honeycracked and Mammoth team member Zoe Lambert. We'll wrap up the show with this week's installment of Robots Around the World. If you like our show, please rate us on Apple Products, Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn, CastBox, Player FM, and Podbean, and follow us on Facebook at Behind the Bots. And tell a friend. We really appreciate our community and your support. Kick us off with the calendar, Brandon. What's happening?
All right. So we're going to try to cover 2 weeks here, August 9th and 16th. So buckle up. For the week of August 9th, we're going to be primarily in the UK and the US. So first in the US, we got Ferndale, Michigan, where 15 US ferryweight, 150-gram robots and 1-pound plastic ants will be competing. In Westminster, Colorado, Bot Rumble will be hosting their August event with 46 robots across the 150-gram control, so more sportsman-like machines, and full combat classes, and 1-pound plastic ants. Over to the UK, where in Gainsborough, they will be hosting the Antweight World Series. 75, apparently, will be held in Willingham Village Hall, where 150-gram UK Antweights will gather together once again to decide who's the best of the best. In London, UK, the Others will be hosting their Rock and Robot 22 event as part of a monthly hybrid of live music and fighting robots. Using 150-gram UK Antweights, you're going to hear that a lot, competitors will first fight their machines and then pass them to the audience members, who then fight them in little tournaments before everyone gets a meal and gets to watch a range of live music. Looking forward to the week of August 16th, we have events in the US, UK, and Canada. So first off, in Salt Lake City, Utah, they'll be hosting their Summer Slaughter event, where 39 robots will be competing across the ferryweight, plastic ant, full combat ant, and 3-pound beetleweight classes. And over to my home state of Maryland, where Macro will be hosting the Alex Richmond Rumble, where 46 ferryweights, plastic ants, and 1-pound full combat ants will be competing in the classes. I'll personally be competing in the 1-pound plastic ant class, so fingers crossed I can survive the battles, and good luck to all the competitors. In Houston, Texas, the August Annihilation event will be held with 21 robots across the 150-gram sportsman, plastic ant, and 1-pound full combat classes, and 3-pound beetleweight classes. Now we go to Canada, where in Calgary, in Alberta, where Kilobots will be running the Canadian National Championships across Saturday and Sunday. 57 robots will be competing across the ferryweight, 1-pound rookies and pro classes, and 3-pound beetleweight classes. Over to Kitchener in Ontario, Canada, we see our largest event of the week, with Bot Brawl hosting their 20th event across the weekend, with 90 robots competing across the antweight, beetleweight, 30-pound sumo, and 150-pound sumo classes. 150-pound sumo classes. Notably, in previous years, Bloodsport and other BattleBots teams have competed there, so definitely go check it out. Heading over to the UK, Robo Dojo will be hosting their first round of full combat UK antweights and beetleweights. Continuing in the UK, the Gloucester, or the GROCS in Gloucestershire, so Gloucestershire Robot Combat Society, will be hosting their antweight event. And then finally, the UK Bristol Bot Builders will be hosting their Big Bot Bash at the Left-Handed Giant Tap Room. Sports and featherweights will be competing outside as part of BBB's 3rd Summer Series event. So for details on these events and more, please visit robotcombatevents.com, buildersdb.com, and bristolbotbuilders.com. And now we head into our interview with Zoe. Zoe, how are you?
Hi, Zoe.
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, doing well. Talking about robots.
Why did you add the moat?
Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
Diving right into the hysteria I see there, Jake.
I'm hysterical about hive hysteria.
Hysterical about hive hysteria,
hive
you say?
Hysteria.
The truth is, I didn't get to decide whether the moat was there or not. It came with the cage.
So you're saying that we have to blame Pete Covert is who we have to blame?
Sure. Any of the Colorado guys, you can blame them.
Blame Luke Quinn.
So Luke Quinn explicitly, directly, and purposefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine shifting blame there.
They can just shift it to the person who had the cage before them. So
You know what? That's true. So create a whole list of blame. That's what I'm hearing.
So where did that cage? When was that cage built?
I don't actually know the full backstory to this cage. I just know it showed up on eBay when we had money to buy a cage, and then we bought it, and now it's here. Stack got the full history at some point, but I know there's a lot of history to it because there's about 6 different ways to lock the cage from people modifying it over the years.
So you don't
Man.
even know. So we got to reach out to one of the Colorado guys and figure out
I know it used
where
to be
they
in a
got it.
restaurant.
Yeah, yeah. The cage has an illustrious life. So I know a bit of the lore, and I can try to share a little bit about it here. I'm sure I'll look in the comments, and I'm sure Luke can commentate on it a bit more. But I do know that previously, like before Honeycrack, this cage used to be like the primary box for the AVC events over in Colorado. So people like Luke and Pete would love to be able to compete in this cage again and do awesome robot stuff. But even before them, I believe this was one of the cages that Fuzzy Malden, way back in BattleBots days, he made. He made Polar Vortex and BattleBots, lots of other Team Toad machines over the years. But long, long ago, he had a idea for a restaurant. I believe this is tied to it, called I think it's Robot Bar and Grill in Pittsburgh, something like that. And so the whole idea was that you could take robot fighting, which is already like live entertainment, just like gladiators and whatever, and then you serve food. People can like sit and watch. And then if you're a builder, that means that they can just feed you food while you build more robots. So it's like a really good entertainment idea put together that, as awesome as it was, probably had a bit of difficulty because robot builders are like infamous for destroying stuff. So it's a little hard to keep a running tournament going. But it was a really cool idea that I think over time, because the cage was so solid,
Really?
just kept getting moved down the line.
Well, when would have that been that restaurant?
Probably like 2003, 2004, like shortly after the BattleBots days, Comedy Central run began to go a little quiet.
This
What I'm
is
hearing is I need to start a restaurant
Yeah,
in the hive
yeah,
in the
selling
hive.
honey-based products.
exactly. And then you could even hire beekeepers to also be around, so you get like beekeeper somewhere, so you can have like 3 different potential connections there, like live bee conservation, and you
We do
have
have a soccer field outside. We'll just go put the bees out there instead.
easy. So so we have a lot of we have a lot of potential here, as I'm hearing, because the hive. Because let's even back up a little bit. So to go all the way back to the beginning. So Zoe, how did you first get involved with fighting robots, combat robots?
Um, in 2020, when COVID hit, we could not do uh our normal FRC, FTC stuff that we have liked to do because all the competitions were remote. And so we were looking for something to get all the kids engaged. So we did a little in-house event that was supposed to be I would say the robots were equivalent to Beetle size, but I didn't know about weight classes. I just knew about combat robots, so I said they had to fit in a certain size. I didn't give them a weight, so it actually ended up with a we ended up with a robot called Toasty that weighed like 10 pounds or something, but it was the exact size of the dimensions I gave. But we did that, um, and it was mostly just like modified RC cars ramming each other into a pit. And then in 2021, Cody and we weren't really doing combat robots fully at the hive yet. It was kind of just like a one-off thing that we did to give some sort of entertainment. And then Cody and I went to NHRL and I saw that there were teams there. And I was like, oh, we could actually start a team. And I spent the whole time in the car. I still had to pitch it to Growing Stems, but I spent the whole time in the car trying to come up with a name. And I was like, Honey Cracked. And he was like, maybe we should look for something else. And I was like, yeah, let's look for something else. Well, I didn't find anything else. So now we have Honey Cracked. And it's kind of just like built up from there. I think Liam was one of our first students on the team because he actually won the second competition, 3-pound competition, we actually had a 3-pound competition at the Hive, and I made him the mini bot with that robot for Busy Bee.
Interesting. So first of all, cool for Liam. That's nice little Liam lore we're hearing too. But also like you mentioned growing stems as well. I'm sure people were asking about it. So Honeycracked is like the combat team, and then we know growing stems like a little bit higher level than that. So sort of what's growing stems?
So Growing Stems is the nonprofit organization that hosts all of the programs that happen in the Hive. And the Hive is just where we live. That's our home. And so the Hive has rooms for Vex IQ, Vex Go, Combat, and FRC. So we have a field house, we have the combat room, which is where am now with our big cage, and then we have some smaller like classroom areas that are for our other programs, like our Vex IQ program, and like we have a conference room and stuff to do meetings and all that in. So Growing Stems is the nonprofit that kind of like all the money that we get gets donated to Growing Stems, and then Growing Stems makes sure that every program kind of gets supported the way it needs to um, keep alive.
Cool. Very cool.
So you started this team. When did you really see the team make a big shift?
And that's hard because I feel like I've been doing this a lot longer than I actually have. So we started in 2021. I think in 2022 we got several people involved, and then 2023 we got even that was like I think that was the year we had the most people involved, and we were doing 3-pounders, and then in 2024 and 2025, it's kind of more consolidated to a smaller group who does like 12-pounders. We have a few 3-pounders, but it really like it grew very fast. Like once we had established it as a program at Growing Stems, it grew way faster than I could actually handle, because in 2022 I was also an FRC mentor. And as the program coordinator for combat, I could not handle doing FRC and combat at the same time. So in 2023, I actually stepped away from FRC. I only go and help if they like need a few extra mentors or something like that for a day, or just go in there every once in a while. But my main focus is combat, and then I have a sub focus of like Vex IQ.
So F-
So it
Sorry.
no, it's okay.
So FRC is kind of not the pipeline, but was certainly your launching point into combat. Um, how did you start with FRC, and like how did you end up going down that route? Like go back, you
Um,
know.
Yeah. So in high school in like 2013, I was in 10th grade and all my friends were joining the team. And I actually missed the meeting that we had to go to be able to sign up for the team. And they got me the little application, had me fill it out, and then turned it in for me, even though I wasn't there. And so I was able to join the team. And I was already doing other like I was building like quadcopters and stuff for my aviation tech class um in high school, but I wasn't like I didn't really know much about robots. And then I joined FRC in 2013 just because my friends were doing it and it sounded pretty interesting. And that's I mean, I haven't had any other hobbies since then really. Like maybe sometimes I play a video game or two, but I'm here all the time, so
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
We think you're really awesome at it.
Um, what is it like working with high schoolers who are in your position, not too long ago, and kind of starting with that age group, and then seeing them develop, and what is that like for you?
So one of the biggest reasons mentor robotics is because I really like when there's always a moment when somebody figures something out that you can see it in their eyes, like that they suddenly figured out how to solve the problem that they've been working on for a while, and that's really inspiring to me. And like seeing kids do that for the first time, or like figure out those problems that they may not have felt they like had the confidence to do before, it it makes me really happy. So I enjoy like the mentoring aspect of it. But working with the high schoolers, it's actually really interesting because by the time they're in high school, they also, are pretty smart on their own. So with combat, we are constantly working together. Like I can't say that I haven't learned anything from the students that they learn from me, but I also learn from them. So, working with the high schoolers, really the only difference between working with the college students or the other adults here is that sometimes I have to uh, steer away from some like crazy ideas, or I have to remind them of money. So that's
The great humbling reality of
Yeah.
money.
I feel like
like
that's
sometimes they
every
have a
age group.
crazy idea. It's
Yeah.
like, I like that sounds cool and it would probably work, but that might cost us $1,000, so let's not do that. But
Mhm.
let's try to find something else to do.
Yeah. Do you ever have to kind of, well, I guess you kind of mentioned that, but like when you're reining in different people's design ideas, and even with that kind of inspiration that goes with it, do you ever have to sort of gently say, really like the ideas, very cool, but I think maybe this idea is better? Because I think that within your certain either like part restrictions or cost restrictions or even time restrictions, this might be a better idea. Is that ever something that has to come up when you're guiding your students' activities?
I really try not to influence it too much outside of like the budget thing. Like I'll let them try it as long as it's not going to cost us a whole lot. What usually happens though is anytime somebody's building a new robot, they have to use parts that we already have or that are cheaper. And if they decide to stick with that robot, or once they prove like that they kind of know what they're doing with it, then we'll be like, oh, okay, so you want some of the innovative designs like motors, or you want some of these parts that are a little bit more expensive, or maybe we have to go out to China to get something made. We can't make it here on our router or on the mill or whatever. And then once they've proven that they are invested in this robot design, that then we'll start investing in it, because I'm up for whatever ideas, as long as they're going to actually like it and continue with it. So if it's a new robot, we usually like try to keep it more on the cheaper side, on the budget side, let them test out the idea. Unless the idea is like fundamentally like it won't work, I don't want to see them like explode or something like it. That's no fun.
Mm. Mhm, mhm.
Um So we definitely, that's the only time we kind of like guide ideas away, is if it's just too expensive, or if I feel like they're just going to fail. I don't want to see that. I don't
Mm,
think they want to experience that either. So
mm, mhm.
What do you find is like continuously motivating for young students? So, uh, a little bit about my background is I work with college age students, and especially post COVID, there was a lot of trouble maintaining engagement, and just like academic grit. Um,
mhm.
what do you see in your students that you know that you find exceptional or that they find motivating?
um I'm not really sure what keeps them around other than it's fun to be here.
Yeah.
We're just
Like
so cool, guys.
I like I'm not paid to be here, so like the same thing goes for me. Like the reason I'm here is because it's fun
Mhm.
and it's enjoyable. Um and they're all a part of robotics for whatever reason. Like they have some their own drivers, and a lot of it is like the problem solving, being able to engage in a sport that kind of uses their mechanical skills and stuff. So like a lot of our kids do sports as well, like they do sailing, soccer, whatever. They do a lot of different activities. And that motivation that they keep for those sports is also what keeps them here.
Sailing is such a Maryland thing to say. I'm sorry that
All right.
there's I
That's
don't know
crazy.
anybody who sails, man. That's so
Do you
Maryland.
have water where you live?
No.
So don't you have the
But you wouldn't
Ohio
know.
River? Don't you have the river? in
Yeah, we have
Cincinnati?
the Ohio River, but like and we
I don't
had a rowing
Yeah, they don't sail on
team
that.
in Louisville, but I mean there's it's not the ocean, it's a dirty river, dude. You don't want to
That's crazy.
get in that. It's
I hear
nasty as
that
hell.
Cleveland. Yeah, I hear Cleveland's on the shores of a lake. You can always just go north to Cleveland.
That's 4 hours away.
That's
I'm not going up there.
a little tricky.
It's a Maryland activity.
How
Okay.
far do you travel for robotics?
That irrelevant.
Ooh, that's crazy. Caught in your own stream. It's crazy.
My only comment on that last question is what I love about combat robotics and what I love that it presents to young people is that it's very precise and intentional effort with very little reward for an extended period of time, right? You have to work toward a abstract and distant goal for a long period of time in order to be, to work your way back. And I think that's so enriching. And yeah, you're right. You can do it with other sports too, and I'm all for that. But combat is such a good teacher for young mechanical engineers. So it's very cool that your program. I see that in your students, um, and it shows in your team dynamic when you guys show up to events. So I just want to,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
stun lock there.
one of the things about growing STEMs as a nonprofit organization is that we have to have like a goal
Mm.
and it needs to be in like STEM education through robotics. And so keeping the combat educational, a lot of the things we teach is like, the normal things you're going to learn with combat, like you need to know about your materials, you need to know about CAD, but outside of like the actual structure part and like the dynamics of like that teamwork and stuff is managing your time and managing your budget. And um the unique thing about combat compared to our other programs is that it's a lot more individual. Like we do have robots that are multi-bots and we have robots that uh kind of you need to work with another person to get them done, but most of the time you have your own robot. It is up to you to ask questions, for you to be here to request parts, and we have like a parts request sheet, and if you don't get your stuff in there in time, then you don't get it, or if you put the wrong thing in, then you get the wrong thing. Like you have to be able to manage your time, manage your budget, manage yourself to be able to get the robot that you want and the performance that you want out of that robot.
Mm. That sounds a lot like the real world skills for sure. It's actually like that's part of the warnings I had to give to people, especially UMD leatherbacks. It's kind of like, all right, the robots are very cool, and they're probably the most fun thing you get to do. But when you have to work at the real world, some of these core skills of robotics that you're kind of like being stealth taught. Like no one
Mhm.
emphasizes the budget or time constraints per se when you're building a robot, but it's an implicit reality, and that part transfers very, very well. So I definitely see a lot of that points tying into it. Because
Yeah,
mhm, good.
those skills, those I feel like separate the skills from like the FRC and the other programs that we have because they're working together. And so they still learn those like about materials, they still learn about CAD, they still learn a whole bunch of skills from FRC that they wouldn't get otherwise, and like how to manage designing a full robot as like a team. But because they have that team to fall back on, it's easier for them to have those moments of like, "Oh, somebody else will handle it if I don't." So
Mm,
that's where combat is like good complementary program, if that makes sense. Like
yeah.
it teach between both programs, you're learning a lot of skills and then they're backed up by each other, but they also have individual skills that you don't get from the other one.
That's good symbiosis right there.
I'm a computer scientist. I'm a civilian for the Navy, so I program things that go on airplanes, sometimes boats, but not. I mean, for the Navy, I work on a lot of airplanes.
Ah, of course, the
Uh,
flying boats, very common.
yeah, yeah, the flying boats. Um, and I'm gonna be honest, a lot of my robot stuff does not benefit from what I do at work. It's actually the opposite way around, is that my work benefits from what I do at robot stuff because I learn a whole lot more at robots and work is where I just apply it.
So the U.S. Navy is living off the shoulders of Honeycracked at all
Hive.
times. Exactly. The
Eh,
Hive is carrying the U.S. Navy, as part of what I'm hearing.
all of our mentors here are, or most of them at least, are from the local like Navy base, and they're engineers, computer scientists, whatever over there. And I do believe that the mentors that are a part of our program actually are way better engineers and computer scientists and just overall like workers because of what we're doing. Like when you're leading kids, you're not just leading kids, you're leading. Like
Mm.
if you can lead a high schooler, you can lead an adult.
Well,
You know, it's a
We hope. We hope. I'm following. I'm
I
following.
mean, yeah, they each have their own challenges, I will be honest, but like 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 I said, I'm always learning from the high schoolers and the middle schoolers that I work with. And so by being a part of like this organization, it actually makes my work better.
Mhm. No, that's awesome. I'm a huge. I'm very glad to see that. I hope the U.S. Navy is happy to hear that. Sponsor us, U.S. Navy, potentially.
no thanks.
Combat
No,
robots?
no, thank you. No, thank you. Um,
That is pretty
wh-
cool. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Zoe.
as far as, and I think that leads in, um, when you have a student kind of join, um, what is the ideal outcome for that student?
Mostly that they build something that they're proud of.
Mm,
We're really about inspiring the students to pursue this stuff in the future. We would ideally like them to come back. Um, with combat, it means that they can continue to do combat into the rest of their life, I guess, because we don't have an age limit. But with like FRC, it's if they once they graduate and they go to college and they come back and they mentor and they become a part of the team again and pass their knowledge on to the next generation. That's what we're hoping to produce, is like this cycle of developing strong engineers through our programs.
that's awesome. Yeah, St. Mary's is lucky to have you all.
I'm proud of who we have here, and there's like it's crazy how far people will travel to be a part of our team. When I was in high school, we had somebody who traveled an hour to twice a week to be here. And like we have new members on our team, including Micah from Avalanche, and he travels like 2 hours to be here, and that's insane. And I'm just like, that takes some dedication to do that, to come here. And I get that we have like all these great resources, but the motivation that's in these kids is amazing.
That that's incredible. Yeah, awesome stuff to hear about it. That
Uh,
being said, oh, go ahead, Jake.
no, no, you take us out.
All right. That being said, we're going to take a really quick break. Be back in a few minutes with more questions for Zoe.
Welcome back, guys. Thanks for the break. Hive Hysteria. If you're a fan of the show, you know you keep track with the streams. I streamed and I watched Hive Hysteria as long as I could before the stream effed and died. No big deal. I'm not blaming you for that, Zoe. It was 5 hours, so I was done by the end. It was a great day. What are your thoughts coming out? How did you like it? Let's talk about it.
Oh, I am very happy with how this year's event went because it grew a lot. So last year was the first time we ever held Hive Hysteria, and there was like 6 12-pound robots. And this year we opened it up to 3-pound robots and 12-pound robots. We had over 50 robots total. I was very nervous about the weather because it was very hot, and being able to fit all the pits inside so nobody was like overheating. I felt bad for the people who were pitted next to our garage door because I knew it was hotter over there. But we managed to keep the inside cool for everybody. So if you were outside, you got to come in and have a break. But everything went super smoothly. We only had one issue with one cage where we had to replace the polycarb or repair it.
Blue cheese.
Blue
Blue
cheese.
cheese.
Oh my gosh, blue cheese. Sorry, go ahead.
Our 3-pound cage held up. We built the 3-pound cage for this event. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know how to get that to stop. Okay. Anyways, we built the 3-pound cage for this event. I did 3/8 polycarb for both layers. After people who were coming to the event had shown that they had the ability to break cages, I was like, we will make sure it is extra strong. Stack worked really hard on the design for that cage, so it's just like everything came together really well. It went very smoothly, a lot better than I thought it was going to go. So we had a lot of really good fights. Everybody, loves the moat. We put that in specifically for this event. So
brand new edition.
We made it bigger. Will the moat be bigger next year?
Yeah, definitely.
Will that be how we do battle
and the walls bigger?
Can we do battle boats in the moat during the matches? That we have 2 events at the same time.
I mean, if your boat can get past the corner brackets, then sure.
I want to know what they were.
We might have to seal it up
at the restaurant, because that's probably from the restaurant days.
It's actually pretty important for protecting the polycarb. It keeps the robots away from it. And then we have the wood walls to protect the robots from the metal walls, and the metal walls protect the polycarbonate from the robots.
So ultimately, you end up with a slightly less than 12 by 12 cage. Is that the size?
It's 13.5.
Oh wow! So it's actually from the
outside is 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like the inside is 16. The moat then makes it like 14, and then the sub walls take away a few inches, like half a foot, I guess. Total.
So it's an ultimately bigger cage than NHRL's cage.
Yeah, NHRL is 16 by 16, isn't it?
It is. Does that include their walls though? Because I know they still have the bumper too.
I thought NHRL.
I think theirs is more like if we didn't have the moat and we only had the walls.
Oh, they are 16 by 16. Okay, so it's a much. It's slightly. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Theirs is like
You're at 13.
15, and ours is like 13.5. So
I mean, for a 12-pounder, that's more than fine. It only really affects like a 30 because 30s need maybe a little more area, but we're not fighting 30s there very often.
yeah, I tried to keep 30 fights, like big 30s out of the cage for fights because I trust my cage, but also like the cage was designed for robots in the 2000s and they're a lot stronger now than they were back then. So I just get a little worried with the 30s just being in there that they're gonna break something that I don't want to deal with fixing. Like
Yeah,
the thing with
serviceability.
blue cheese was the first thing that happened to this cage where we actually needed to pull it apart and pull a panel out.
Thanks, Matt.
Matt.
Blue cheese strikes again. You can't escape blue cheese. I tried. Well,
Unless
I didn't
you're
even
a
try to escape blue cheese. I accept
camera.
my fate.
These are polls from Discord, so they're probably not the best, but I'm playing them.
Yep. So we're gonna watch a few fights for the audio listeners once again.
Yes. This is Blue Marlin versus Buzzkill.
Oh my gosh.
Buzzkill on the rail. Blue Marlin pursuing into the moat. So
That's just how
watch
the
it.
fish gets fed, you know.
The fish likes water, which means the fish likes the moat. And watching it on stream during the day and watching Blue Marlin moat every robot was something else. And I think Bob pinged Jimmy at one point and asked NHRL that one.
Yeah, you know, we got to ask Jimmy when he's gonna put the moat into the big cages at NHRO.
I felt
I
like
know you can hear us.
the fights were like none of them went to the judges. I don't think a single 12-pound fight went to the judges. They were fast, they were hard, they were fun to watch. They were fun to watch on stream.
It's pretty cathartic. Like
Yeah, there was lots of really good robots at the event. So
yeah, it was like it's funny thinking about the Hive Hysteria because Hive Hysteria being based in Southern Maryland, you kind of expect most people to show up there being from, you know, generally around maybe the area, like maybe as far as like Pennsylvania, maybe the Midwest a little bit, like Ohio. But even just considering that and a few, you know, big out of towners, you still had overall a very beefy level of competition, which is kind of incredible to think about too, because that means that we're like it's one of those effects of Honeycracked on the area, and I guess the area is large, maybe it's effect of like the Eastern competitions and all that. You had some like honestly, this is a very NHRL like field. Like you can look at the field for 12 pounds NHRL and probably find 3/4 of it just at this competition fighting. And so whenever these kind of matches were showing up in 3 and 12s, you just had these like really, really fun times the whole time. Like honestly, I think the crowd. I was only in there briefly because you know I got fished. I got fed to blue cheese by my own doing, but it was probably very, very fun for the crowd to be like, "Oh, that's just like huge boom," and then like a very solid ending to it as well.
It's it.
oh yeah, we
Your turn.
Zoe's guess. Go
we
ahead.
got
All right.
we got lots of like we had lots of guests who were just like I didn't know this was around here.
Mm.
And so they were excited to see it. And then there was a lot of big fights, like one of the scariest ones in the 3-pound cage, which I was definitely waiting for a cage breach when I was watching it, was the Pine Victus versus Breakneck fight.
Yeah. Shout out
I was
Alex.
just
Shout
they
out
were
Keziah.
yeah, they were bouncing all over the place. I was just ready. I was like ready to go get a panel and just replace that because I was just the amount of power in those robots is insane.
Oh yeah.
Do you have timestamps for the Nian fight? Or are the timestamps in here?
Oh, no.
No.
I might do a bit of scrubbing for that. Yeah, it might take a bit of time. Might take a bit of time to scrub.
I'm scrubbing until I find
But while
a random fight.
but while we
Oh,
while we
jeez.
scrub, these fights are these fights are legit. I remember because like one thought as well, even looking later on in the competition with 3 pounds, especially, I think a lot of the like because oh actually no, even backing up to all that a little bit. So for this event, but also very notable too, yeah, like the coin system, like the anti-up system, and people were definitely interested in that because of how different it is than the classic bracket seating that you have going into matches. So what was sort of the inspiration behind that system for fights?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember where it came from, like, the idea came from. I just know that, the first year we ran it, I wanted it to be a way for people to test their robots and really just come to the event to have fun. Um, so having the token system meant that you don't have to be in a rush, you don't have to be held to, like, this 20-minute fight time. Like, if you needed to figure out what was wrong with your robot, you could decide to spend the rest of the day fixing your robot and have like one more fight or like just like have a grudge match or whatever. Like you're not like locked into fighting however many fights. You can figure it out for yourself. And then the people who want to be competitive, they can try their best. One thing that I didn't really like this year about it is that like with the introduction of so many more robots is that there was scary robots that people didn't want to fight. So they weren't getting any
Mm,
fights. So we're actually discussing how we want to fix that for next year. Because I would like to keep Hive Hysteria as this token system because it is really nice to be able to pick your fights and fight when you're ready and to test new systems and stuff. But there definitely needs to be a better system for random matches, basically, for people who are ready to fight, but they can't necessarily find somebody to fight.
yeah. I remember pitting near Lars with Impact. I remember that was a concern he had. So I fought him first with Hex. Excellent fight. That was very
Oh,
fun.
that
Mhm.
fight was
But
great. Do you have a timestamp for
yeah,
that fight?
I wished I did.
Okay, let me look.
That was just
About
fun violence
when
though.
was it? That was
It
so
was
much
pretty
fun to
early in the
watch.
day. It was fairly early in the day, I think. So it's probably not too far from what you're searching for now.
Uh,
But that was good. Like Professor Hex is really old, Impact's really good, and Hex didn't die. Lars did his best though. I think the only thing that died, like the motor, was for it. But otherwise, I remember like talking with Lars way after later on in the day, and that was sort of his concern, like making sure he could get matches in because everyone's like flying through stuff. And I saw I was able to at
Mhm.
least fight with like grudges and stuff, but that's definitely something I'm sure if he got it, probably others too.
oh, here it is,
But
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
it's like an unexpected result of the hive growth.
Yeah, and that's another thing is that I was thinking about space. So, like, we didn't have all 24 12-pounders sign up. So I was like, "Oh, all those spots could be filled in with 3-pounders." So I could get people off the wait list. But, um what ended up happening with the 12-pounders were fine. Like, we were able to keep the cage pretty full all day, but without, like, having too long of a wait, but there were so many 3-pounders that, the list for fights just kept building up faster than we could keep up with it. So, next year, I do think that there needs to be, like, a hard limit on the 3-pounders, like, it needs to be 24 3-pounders. I shouldn't let it get up to, like I think there was, like, 33 3-pounders, something like that.
Probably. It was a pretty good wait list for it.
Yeah, um, so, as sad as it is, I want people to be able to show up if they want to, but, that keeping a certain number of
Oh,
robots is important
oh,
for timing.
For
oh my
sure.
gosh.
And Jake pulled up
I
the
love
Hex Impact fight.
for
Oh, yeah.
this I thank you for reminding me of this fight because the stream, it was a 5-hour stream, so the fights became a little bit of a blur, but this was one of the most fun fights to watch of the day. Professor Hex, this first shot, I don't understand how you
I would just
made
punch him really hard in the face and threw
I
him backwards.
I guess because this is
Yeah.
such a loser shot for a horizontal most times, but I guess you just got a really good engagement. Um, uh, and then immediately, like, Lars's reaction time getting back on his feet, and then the other thing, and this is not a criticism the same way the mode is not a criticism. The Beetle rails were huge. And I know
They're
so
four by
what's
fours.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
that'll do it.
huge.
That'd do
Um
it.
which was it was brutal on Impact and it was brutal on Alex Wang's robot, Pine Victus,
Fine Victus. Yeah.
which also had a really good showing. Just like as
Love
he
Pine.
gets better driving that robot and as its reliability increases, it comes back so strong to every event. Um, yeah, they were having a hard time with the rails. So what's the story on this 3 pound cage? You guys just built it.
Yes, and all the wood was donated. So it was originally supposed to be 2x4s as the rails, but
Mm.
we got the wood donated, and the 4x4s are the same 4x4s that we got out of for the 12-pound cage. They're like the offcuts,
Oh. hmm
I believe, or
Yes.
like we got them donated. But
Yeah.
either way, they also one of the later decisions we made for the cage was that we have screws that go up through the underside of the cage into the rails to hold them down. And the 2x4s were not long enough for that. Um,
Mm. hmm
so for now, until the side rails kind of get more beat up, we're leaving them in there. We'll probably like uh sand them down and stuff. And we are going to keep them as 4x4s, but the next set that we put in, we're actually going to chamfer the outer edges so they're angled instead of just squares
For the record, I
to help with that.
yeah, I think the chamfered edge is the way to go, across the board for I because that's how the BattleBots cage is. Like as the sport grows, I'd like to see that at least tried out at like these smaller events, and then maybe peripherate its way up to like 12s and 30s, um, just to keep fights moving. Um,
Mhm.
I like a good wall stick. I know it. But, just, like, thinking about the pacing of the sport and, like, actually watching and enjoying the fights that are happening, like, I think a beveled edge might be something to explore just because, like, the current situation with the Norwalk rails is that they're because they're 90 degrees, a horizontal can get stuck in there, and then simultaneously they're so large that a vert can get stuck on top. So like if you just beveled the edge so that the blade's more likely to glance or tear out, um, and then so it's beveled so a vert's more likely to like roll off. And all you got to do for that is send it through a table saw or run a track saw with a bevel on it down the lengths before you install them or after you install them. You could do that too. Just run it along the existing cage. But
Yeah.
that's a little stun lock about cages. Sorry. All right, and fight.
Yeah.
Something that
Yeah.
kind of because of the area that we're in and the temperature that was outside and just the overall weather is
Mhm.
that our wood, especially in the 3-pound cage, was super soft.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you'll see horizontals get stuck in it. And
Yeah.
they were getting stuck in it a lot
Oh.
easier than other places because the wood was just it was so soft. It was like you could feel it with your hands.
Mhm.
And but that also means that if you had cleats, they probably worked extra well on the soft ground. And then the fight, so we need to update our timer. Cody's already working on it. To make it to where where we can select to have 2-minute or 3-minute fights because we kept having 3-minute fights because that's what our timer did outside. But it was so hot that people's robots were getting like extremely hot inside the cage.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it would have been better if the matches were like 2 minutes instead of 3 minutes.
Does the robot being hot, does that use up the battery more? Because
It
the
I remember actually, by the way, first of all, came in from Ricky. We're also is always a member of Mammoth, so we'll probably touch on that at some point. But anyway, so our fearless leader Ricky also came by and was also able to visit the event too. And I remember talking to him a little bit about the heat for the lipos. He said, kinda like they're definitely less happy when they're very hot, but it also isn't as critical if they're a little hot. So the robots are probably like in those spikes of the weapons drawing tons of amps and so on. That's probably when the robot's getting, or the battery's probably a little less happy. I think our biggest fear is that if it's prolonged and you keep trying to just do it, not letting it cool back down again after a cycle, then you can get at risk of quick degradation, and then that leads to the sad fires, leaving just like puffy lipos lifetime.
Turn your throttle or your thermal limits off.
Well, I mean, I think you're not only concerned about battery heat, but you're concerned about the rest of the electronics too.
And your chassis at that point too. Like if everybody's plastic, then maybe if all things are everything begins melting on robots that are not made to
I wanted to show off our plastic amp weights at like we had these booths of like our FRC team and our Vex IQ stuff, and I wanted to show off our plastic amp weight program, but it was all outside, and I told them they weren't allowed to take their robots outside because it was too hot and they were gonna melt.
No, that's very, very understandable. It was like 95 or so for everybody who was wondering. It was super high with high humidity because it's Maryland and you're near the ocean.
Where you can
sail. Yeah, where you can sail. So that's the key. If we just sailed away, it'd be fine. But
crazy question. No. What do you mean? No.
Yeah. But I love the event. I definitely loved the bots there. Like right now, like Jackalope and Peekaboo is great.
Was Jay driving this one?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, Jay was there. Jay was driving.
Bam.
Yeah, that's great. No, because like this is a prime example of like these are really top tier beetle weights who are fighting here. Like it's very much back and forth. One gets underneath the other, big launch, throws, whatever. And both of these bots have history doing well. Jackalope qualifying HRL and being good at G-Scroll. And then Peekaboo also being good at G-Scroll and being like a monster down in Florida back when Bob was down there with that. So like you're talking about pretty high tier robots that just sort of show up and just do great, and they're just having fun. Just fighting people out under the Maryland sun.
Yeah, I was worried that people wouldn't want to show up to the event because we're kind of very remote where we are. And so like we're an hour and a half to 2 hours from DC and Baltimore. So there's getting here is not like fun. But I mean, more people showed up than I thought, and like everybody seemed to have a great time. So, and then like I've learned a lot this year, so I'm hoping that next year Growing Stems is looking at some opportunities right now to become bigger and have a bigger building to call home. And I'm hoping that next year we'll be more established and be able to have both cages inside. All the 3-pounders will be able to have like full pit tables instead of half a pit table because I felt a little bad about that. Some other event runners told me that they've done that before, so it's not too bad, but definitely would like to give everybody like proper pit space. And like we didn't have a 3-pound test box, we didn't have a 12-pound test box, so those things in the future, it's just what I'm hoping that our events, like as they get bigger, as we get better, that those are improvements that we can make, and then we can also hold more events in a year besides just the one.
That's awesome. Also, the chat has wanted us to note that it was in fact Bob who's driving against Gwen, Peekaboo Jackalope. So thank you, chat. Thank you, chat, for life corrections. But anyway, not to take away from your points. That's definitely a big point because actually, Maker Nekomiski specifically asked, "Are there ideas for more hive-based events?" Like you already mentioned, Hive Hysteria is a big one, and the goal is other events. Are there any sort of other events on the horizon that might be potentially happening that are sort of on the ideas, or everything's still pretty got to figure it out?
So right now One of the big things about our 3-pound cage is that it's mounted on a trailer, and we did that so we could take it other places other than the hive to have events. So we actually are looking to partner with people to who are willing to host the events, but they don't have a cage for like beetles or whatever, is that we can bring our cage to them and help them host an event. So something that we are working on, don't have too much details right now for, is that we're working with a science museum in Maryland to host an event in October. Um, so keep an eye out for that. I'll give more details eventually once we have more things figured out. But we're already looking into trying to host more events, and we can't do it by ourselves. Like, we would love to host events more often, but we have so much of our team is like busy all the time. So if we have other people who just need a cage and we can help them run an event, then we'd love to do that.
So
That sounds great.
you're putting the bat signal out for other builders on the East Coast to utilize your cage, bring the cage to them. What an awesome concept. I love that.
Yes, and so we've built our cage very strong, and so we can find it reliable. Obviously, we want to be the ones running the cage, so we then have the responsibility over that, because the last thing we'd want is to basically let somebody borrow the cage and something happen. But as long as they're willing to work with us and let us be there to run the cage, and we're open to working with people on hosting more events.
Okay, the bat signal is out. If you're in Maryland and you have fighting robots, they got a cage. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back. We're going to be watching more fights, getting hysterical with it. Be right back. Thanks. Welcome back from the break. Thank you guys. We're back with some more fight review. Zoe, your team has a fleet of multi-bots. How did that happen? How did that start? And right now we're watching Mine and Implusle versus the baby Grim.
So the first real like multi-bot that we had, like true multi-bot, was Mine and Implusle, and that was because Team Defective has a lot of background in combat robotics, and Matt and I got along pretty well, and he had been like a mini bot driver for me because he was teaching me like drive coaching skills so I could drive coach better for my team. And then we went from like multi-bot, like the mini bot, full bot setup to a multi-bot setup, and just learning how like those skills, like with interacting with each other, and uh how those fights play out, and like what he was pointing out to me is things that I've learned to communicate to my team, and like it was mostly for him to teach me proper like fight techniques and what to keep an eye out for during a fight.
You're stuck upside down. Or you're trying to get Matt back over right now.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
in the mind
so,
puzzle
so-
it's so cute to watch.
So I think this is the fight where I hand the controller to Michael because I can't do it and I get stressed out. So I hand it over to Michael and he figures it out. Like it becomes like from no experience, like right here is like where it goes from, oh, Zoe doesn't have a lot of experience, to somebody who has a lot of experience and just can figure it out.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was so
that's-
fast. So we just run straight into the other one. So now both of them are fully back on their wheels, and they're both attacking Baby Grim after being inverted briefly.
I remember
If I say it
watching
for,
this
like, 2
fight,
minutes.
and it was the first time where I really saw like it, because this is like pre-repeater,
Oh, that's
This is like a very early. I don't know. It's the first time I really saw synergy between a multi-bot, and for people who have never watched Zoe and Matt fight together, it's kind of terrifying because they don't say anything to each other. They're completely silent when when they're cage side. It's really
it's telepathy.
Sure. It's some level of fundamental communication that I don't understand.
Matt has said one thing to me that like stuck into my head. It was like when I was driving around, it was before this fight, like when I was running into him a lot, it was hit them, don't hit me. And talking about us having lots of multi-bots, every time I'm working with a new person on a multi-bot, that is, I'm like, okay, remember, hit them, don't hit me. And we joke with that all the time. And like going from Mine and Implusle, having a second driver down there that you can learn from was like really helped me. And so having multiple multi-bots and Honeycracked is so that one, more of our team participates. We have more drivers, we have more people working on robots, but also you have someone there that you can kind of like you can communicate with, you can like jump off of when you're like analyzing fights. You're not alone when you're down there, and it's just made the multi-bots like a lot of fun. And with B-Force and Honey Bombers, they're actually supposed to be our like premier Honeycracked specific bots. So Honey Bombers was introduced this year, and it's so that way somebody who has experience can be working with somebody who's new on the team. And it's 2 different robots. It's a vertical and we have a horizontal. So before you're ever building your own bot, you have a chance to drive both and figure out what style you like best.
It's such a cool concept, and it synergizes so well with your team objectives. You know, it makes so much sense when you explain it that way.
So difficult for a fight for the opponent because now they have to consider each different direction to approach you at, and that can just throw somebody off pretty fast. It's like, oh, here's the big wedge for the horizontal, and then the vert's like, perfect, I have forks, and you just go right there,
Yeah.
bend the wedge, and let the
You all
horizontal
win
just
this
gut it from
fight?
there.
I don't remember this
Yes.
fight. This is crazy.
Against Torrent, by the way.
So Matt's
Matt and Plus
completely
against Torrent.
dead. Matt's completely dead at this point. It's been a pretty good back and forth.
I'm struggling because my wedge. So the Minun and Plusle bounce a lot. They are very bouncy robots, and as soon as you take the wedges away, they have nothing keeping them on the ground, so they actually like move around. Like they just want to fly all over the place, gyro
Yeah.
flip and everything. So I have one wedge gone on one side, the other wedge is lifted up, so it's providing none of that stabilization. So it's very difficult to drive. And I was just sitting on the ground with Zach and Matt next to me telling me what to do. And I was just like, it's so difficult to drive. I can't
You're
get the
so
robot to do
focused
what
right
I
now.
want.
You are so focused.
Eyes are deadlocked on the robot. Every single part of the brain.
Yeah.
And so you flipped over Torrent, got a pin in the corner, and now it's just like free shots on the bottom of it. And that's pretty good. Because even though you have two robots, one of them's down, the other one's still going, and it's doing well.
Yeah.
So I guess that goes alongside
fight.
it. So like with Minun and Plusle, exactly. It's like with Minun and Plusle, with the multi-bot direction you have there. So we already heard a really good part, which is like the team-facing side of it, which you get to learn a bit from the different versions, vertical or horizontal and honey bombers. With Minun and Plusle, do you see that advantage with the multi-bots also, just like as you're fighting against somebody else, having the two bots instead of the one bot? Does that give you additional benefits you've seen over time?
Yeah, I really love multi-bots because it's nice having backup. It's one thing I mentioned is that the robots are bouncy. So if you can get the pattern going, the robots literally open up for the next one to come in. So you can go in, it bounces back as soon as you hit, and then the other one can come in. So it's like you don't have to let up.
It's so fun to watch
pressure.
when you guys are able to get that, like, it's almost like a drum beat where you guys are just like back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah, and it's harder to practice with Minun and Plusle because Matt and I do live like 5 hours away from each other. But when we have like with B-Force and Honey Bombers, we actually utilize our cage that we have here to practice that sort of rhythm. Because we have a 10-pound medicine ball, and we'll actually like push it around and push it to each other and try to navigate that same space as each other without hitting each other, keeping that rhythm and making sure it doesn't like get stuck in the corner or something. So all that practice and pushing that medicine ball around actually gives us a lot of like driver practice about how to work together in a match with a moving object.
It is so cool. So, I touched on it in one of my videos. Hey, if you keep up with Jake Hoffman's one video a year, it's so cool that you keep your cages open to people who are willing to come and learn. That's such a cool opportunity, and it builds such a strong community, and it means that your resources, you guys have built such a cool base, and it's inspiring that you want to share that with others. So I just want to thank you.
Yeah, it's something that I really want to make sure that everybody knows that if they want, they can come here and they can test. Our space, I never want like our cages to be isolated to, oh, Team Honeycracked is the only one to benefit from this. And occasionally I'll post pictures to prove that we are doing that. You'll see that the Leatherbacks come down here, Brandon comes down here. I want people to be able to come here and practice and utilize the space. And like it's open, like it's here, it's all the time, it's just right behind me here. So like come and use it. Like I want people to in the community to have the same advantages that we have by having it here. is that they can practice with those robots that they normally for a 12-pounder. It's like really difficult to practice if you don't have like some sort of safe space.
I don't spin up with my drive train until the event most times.
Right, and that
Literally
can feel
any
very
time.
defeating
Yeah.
if
Yep.
you find out like at
Yep.
the event that all of a sudden your weapon and your drive can't work at the same time. Like there's
Biggest
something
barrier to
funky with your
entry.
ESCs.
Biggest
Yeah.
barrier to entry is that initial testing. Because that's like the determiner of like if you make your first fight and ultimately like if you return to the sport is like can you test it and figure out issues ahead of time when it's less stressful. You can ask questions and learn things versus do you get to the event and then you go 0-2 because you forfeit. You know, that's
Mhm.
it's so cool that you guys have identified that as the problem and then immediately and generously gone out of your way to solve that problem. So
Yeah, many thanks. And that was just mine and Plusle.
I wish
So
I
then-
lived closer to
Okay.
Hollywood, Maryland.
So we just have to import you, make a wormhole. Simple as that.
Yes.
You know, when we figure that out, it'll be easy. But as well with the other bots, that's mine and Plusle. They're awesome. So we're also looking at like B Force, and its fight against this is 30. So what was a big difference you found between B Force and mine and Plusle? Because one at first glance could probably say, oh, it's two vertical spinners fighting against other robots. That seems pretty familiar to us. Is there something else that you really wanted to experiment on with B Force that mine and Plusle themselves didn't teach it on its own way?
Yeah, B-Force and Mine and Impulsal are very similar to each other in that, hub motor, vert, tread. Two of them. But B-Force is actually a lot more stable than Mine and Impulsal is. So they're a lot easier to drive. They're Mine and Impulsal, if you look at like the side profile of them, they have a bigger back wheel than they do a front wheel for the tread. And B-Force is flat. It's flat and wide, and it's very stable. It's harder to flip over, like it doesn't bounce all over the place, but that means it's easier to drive, it's easier to kind of navigate with, and they're also slower. So, going from driving Mine and Impulsal to driving B-Force, it felt like all the skills that I learned from Mine and Impulsal translated well, but it's just easier with B-Force.
Less
Um,
bouncy, more locked down.
yeah. Yeah, it's a lot more stable. And they have so Mine and Impulsal now have metal forks, but they used to have like
Ooh.
I believe it's called like baleen forks.
Yeah.
And that's what you see in this match here is that they have those yellow baleen forks, which we're not going to use anymore. They held our opponent away from us more than we would like than actually like being forks.
Mm.
But like see like here we can't gyro flip back over. You can see that robot is like really struggling
Hard stuck.
to get back over. Whereas
Mhm.
Mine and Impulsal, you struggle to not be flipping all over the place. So if I could
Yeah.
find the balance between those two, that would be great, but I haven't quite gotten there yet.
So going alongside it with B Force versus Mine and Plusle. So
Yeah.
B Force hasn't been around as much as Mine and Plusle has, but is there plans to upgrade B Force to improve it at some level, to bring it back and make a run for an HRL?
Yeah, we do plan to bring B-Force back. We just got the biggest inhibitor for B-Force is the hub motor weapon. Because we got custom ones made for Mine and Implusal that made it so much easier. But for B-Force, every single time we wanted a weapon, we had to take a like Tempest motor and take it apart, disassemble it, reassemble it with the hub motor components, and if doing that for 2 bots it was a lot. And so we kind of told ourselves we weren't going to run it again until we found a better solution for the weapon. And the solution is that now we have badass motor, 4520 hub motors for B-Force that are pre-made. We don't have to drill out and make a custom hub motor every single time. It's already there. And like that is the biggest improvement that we have for B-Force. And then we are also upping like the weapon diameter from 6.5 inches to 7.5 inches. And the rest of it I haven't figured out yet. And so Cody and I are still working on it. But that is the biggest improvements that we wanted out of B-Force. Otherwise, we are very happy with it. We also have to drop the weight down this year compared to last year, so that's a little bit of a struggle also, is we have to get rid of a pound on each of them.
Oh, wow.
So that's like a rule change difference right there.
Because the rules are changing?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, the rules changed for multi-bots. So the 50/50 for 30 pounders
Oh,
went from
nice shot against
21
anxiety.
per
So-
per robot to 20 per robot.
Mm,
This
gotcha.
year? I thought it went up.
For
No,
30
for 12 pounders it went up.
Yeah, for 12s it did. For
but
30s
for
a little
30s
different.
it went down.
Yeah. There
I mean,
was
it's a
such a
small bus,
weird
small nerf.
disparity
Yeah.
between them. It didn't make sense before. It makes sense now. I understand why they did it. It just means that there's a little bit more work I have to put into B-Force before Cody and I can run them again.
So wait, you're
Yeah.
telling me it used to be 22.5 or something?
It used to be 21.
That's weird. Different than all the other weight classes.
That's 30 pounds.
Sorry,
Weird is what
I'm a
they do.
12-pound head. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm just realizing that was
Sorry.
it makes it makes sense the way that it is now. It's good that it's
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it
consistent.
definitely makes sense. It just means I need to take that into account.
Yeah.
Without the forks and stuff, they were just under 20 pounds before, but now that we want to make the weapon bigger, there's like just more weight that has to be kind of distributed differently than before.
But that is still pretty cool because with the bigger weapon and different fork geometry and stuff like that, that makes it worrying. So, I'm worried. So, yippee. But at the same time, it's kind of cool because there's not really a lot of 30-pound multis. I think the last big 30-pound multi that really did high level of success is polyester. And I think that was 2 years ago now. And so there have been other attempts at it, but I don't think any have been quite as good. And to see B4 sort of taking up that rare niche in the class and building up to it, I think it gives you opportunities, especially because I can say this as, one of the competitors. I'm mostly geared to fight one robot at a time. So I'm used to a let's say Vorion versus Undertaker match. At least it's mano a mano. But I have to fight two B forces that have a weapon almost as big as my own and are more maneuverable too. That could make it very hard because 30 pounders definitely like 30 pounders can very easily get broken because the physics of that class is different than like a 3-pounder. They don't really bounce anymore, they just begin to break and bend. So all I have to do is like nick the right area of a 30-pound robot. You can kill the drivetrain pretty effectively. And 2 robots, big weapon, great chances of doing that. So it could easily become a very worrying entry for the class.
They're so dominant.
Well,
in
that's
this
my
fight.
hope.
They're so wide. I mean, they're just as wide as like maybe not a Vorion, but they're as wide as Anxiety.
They're basically as wide as Vorion.
Okay.
I think
there's actually a time I brought a bare chassis version to the Hive when I was figuring out the hub motors way back in the first place on Phenomenon. And it's about the size of B-Force. It's kind of concerning, actually. It's like, wait a minute. I thought these are, half the weight, multi-bots. But it's like, nope. I just, physics works out in such a way, or even like a 21-pound B-Force is not that much smaller than a 30-pound Vorion. Little differences here and there because of shape and all that, but it can get very worrying very fast if you're like nose to nose, you're trapped and you can't escape, and the other one just swoops around and just squishes you in the middle.
All right. Would you like to? So, Honeycrack sells. Do you want to call it a product line?
Sort of. It's
Yeah.
products that we want, and it's cheaper to buy a bunch of them than the amount that we need. So we sell them.
Where can I find these?
growingstems.org under the combat tab.
Growingstems.org. Is that just
Yeah, you go to store and then there's
store
combat.
combat? Okay. So you've got, talk me through these. We've got the bespoke.
The 3/8 drive axle to replace a shoulder bolt for 12 pound, and I use it in B-Force, so 30 can be used in 30s. Use your own discretion for that though. Um, and basically it's a 3/8 shaft that has a hex on the other side to key into the frames. These were designed by Liam, and I wanted to encourage him in that design process and learning that. And so we turned it into a product. And with as it's the same with all our products, is that we tested on all our robots first, because usually it's something that we need anyways. So these were tested on mine and Implusle. They were tested, I believe, on Bumble Blitz and B-Force, and they worked out really well. Like they worked way better on B-Force than the shoulder bolts, and held up super well. So we decided, like after that, we ordered like 100 of them and decided to sell them.
Securing your wheel like a queen in her hive.
I
Wow.
use ChatGPT to generate all of these.
That is very upsetting.
I tell
And
it to put a lot of bee puns in it.
might I add, I had a little influence over this, if you remember. The hexagon has a 0.07 inch radius, which means you can mill the pocket with a 1/4 inch end mill. Very
Oh,
Yes,
DFMA
and
build.
that means that
Very
we can
DFMA build.
cut it on our router. One thing
I
that's
love
nice
it.
about this is that you
You're
can do the
welcome. Oh, I'm not
pocket
screen
with
sharing.
a countersink. You with a
Sorry.
countersink on the other side. Um,
I am now.
but if you do like a laser cut welded frame with like an 1/8 inch drive rail, you can just put a 1/4 20 bolt through it and cut out the hex with the laser. So you can do
Very,
it the way it's set up in B-Force, or you can do like uh it on a like a flat sheet, like a 2D sheet.
very DFMA build.
I
Excellent
love it.
product. And then we've got your, so this is the B box. I know a thing or two
Yes.
about Helen. I've dealt with Helen before.
Yes, and again, these are something that um I started working on because gearboxes are expensive and I wanted something for our team that was something that we could get that wasn't like super expensive, and then the more you buy of them, the cheaper they are. So we experimented with them on B-Force and or not Bumble Blitz, Buzzkill, and the mini bot for Moccasin, which is just, it's B-Force but a giant wedge instead of a vert.
Oh,
And
you still have
then
separate ring gears. Oh, nice.
yeah, so
Yeah, that's
they're
awesome.
aluminum, and
Yeah.
I wanted, just if something happens to them, I want people to be able to
Wow.
replace them. And then on B-Force, it's indirect drive for a 30, but we've never had one break. So after doing so many matches with those gearboxes and it being so reliable, we're like, yeah, we can sell this as a product. We're I'm always very cautious about the things that we are going to sell to make sure that they withstand fights. So we test them on multiple of our robots, which we have the resources to do that here because we have such a large team. And then like one of the modifications we wanted is that with the 27-to-1 gearbox, you can't use a 5 mil motor like shaft. So, and some people don't want 27-to-1. So I got a modified set of gears that uses the same ring and everything, and you can just buy the set for the 15-to-1 ratio that has it comes with 1/8, 4 mil, and 5 mil pinions.
Woo.
And this is another thing that is really spick and span on these is the double height output stage. So
Yes.
basically with a planetary gearbox, Your initial stage is a high speed stage. So that's all your speed. You run that through reduction. And then your second stage has a, um, what is this? A 4-to-1 and then a 4-to-1, or a
I
five to
guess a
one
little
and then
different.
I
a three to, or a 3-to-1 and then a 5-to-1.
something like that. It's not exact. They're like 5 point whatever, 3 point whatever.
Yeah, right. The planetary numbers, whatever. This has 3 times as much torque on it as the previous stage because you've just run your high speed stuff through that reduction. So it doesn't make sense to have the same size, same width gears. You want to spread that higher torque load out and subsequently increase the capacity of your output sun, which is what always fails. It's always the output sun. That's the cranky baby right there in the middle. Always, always. So if you can make that wider, you can spread that load out, spread that torque out, um, and get a stronger gear set. So what's really real nice about these is that they've got the double height output. I'm a double height output fan. Other companies, won't do that because it's cheaper because you have 6 of the same gear instead of 3 different gears and then 6 of the same gear instead of 2 sets of 3. So it's less expensive, but it's not engineered, and these are engineered, baby. And yeah. No, I love teams that sell, and I'm this way too, right? Is if I allow me to plug myself, like I'm only selling stuff that I use, and it's very cool to just sell stuff you use because it's like, okay, the person who's making this like believes in what they do. I think that's cool in that way. Um, so yeah, no, I think it's cool what you guys do.
Yeah,
Small
and one
plug.
thing that makes it um nice is that it means I tried to keep the price low. So it's a little bit cheaper than other gearboxes of the same size, I believe. I'm not too concerned about matching other people. I just did it enough to where it made sense for us, but every gearbox comes with an extra set of planetary gears, and those so it comes with an extra set of planetary gears, and you get both sizes of pinions. So you're not having to lock into whether you're getting the 1/8 size pinion or the 4 mil pinion. You get both with the gearbox.
That's growingsims.org/products dash, or sorry.
And
Growingsims.org.
and soon I'm going to have a new
Soon.
modification for it. So the B boxes, the square on them is 1.5 inches.
Mhm.
Um, but that's too big for all of my half weights for 12 pounders. So I've been working on a 1 3/8 size that
Ooh.
also has a 3/8 hex shaft that uses the same gears, the same ring. Um, and so once I'm ready with that, then that's going to be another modification that you can buy for your already existing gearboxes, because the only difference is the front and back plate and the hex shaft. So that will be a separate thing that if you already have, B boxes and you would like to have a smaller profile for them, then you can get this modification for it and make it fit in your smaller robots.
Wow. All you gearbox heads, you heard it here first. New updates to the honey Hive Tech. Hive Tech B-Box updates inbound.
It'll probably be like a month or so before that comes out, but I'm still working on it. I'm about to get them produced. So
Exciting. All right, all you 12-pound builders, lock in if you haven't already. We're not sponsored, but also really big fans.
Okay. Thank you so much, Zoe Lambert. You have a great story. You have a great mission. I love everything about your team. I love working with your team. I love being around your team. You're okay too, I guess.
oh yeah, hey, the team wouldn't exist without me. So
Okay. Well, Thank you very
That's
much.
the secret.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. Will be uploaded to all of our streaming services as soon as I download it and send it to Brandon. So, thank you guys.
Do you want
Thank
to
you for
do?
having me.
But oh yeah, wait. Robots around the world. Oh my gosh, why didn't you say something sooner? Oh my gosh. Okay, read robots around the world, and then we're out.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm
we got it.
sorry. My
You're
bad.
good. You're good. It's fine. It's fine. Jump scare everybody out there. Anyway, so for robots around the world, first of all, I wanted to give a big shout out to Lindsay. Not only is Lindsay phenomenal, she also did my homework for me for the week, and she found the story this week. So big thanks to her. But this past week, the University of Florida researchers, they deployed robotic rabbits in South Florida to lure Burmese pythons. So these pythons originally came to the state through the exotic pet trade, and since then have devastated Florida's ecosystem. The researchers want to use these rabbits to seek to mimic aspects of real rabbits so they can attract pythons, and researchers can capture them and attempt to curtail the population. These things include like different heat signatures, many of the visual cues like eyes and whatnot, with plans to potentially even add smell as another feature in case they're ineffective. So, what do we think about this new application of robotics to stem the tide of Burmese pythons in Florida? I'm just hearing ominous laughs over there.
Oh, it sounds. I don't know.
Rabbit. Get
I will
listen,
say,
get
good.
Alex and Gwen
Stick
down there
Jackalope
with
out
stick
there. Yeah, yeah.
Jackalope and the other rabbit, whatever it is.
Soggy.
Yeah. Forget
Yeah.
Usagi. Stick those on them. They could kill a snake.
But can they kill all the snakes? That's the question.
You can make a multi-bot.
You know, if we had listen, question. If we have 1,000 jackalopes versus 1,000 Burmese pythons, who's winning?
You have 1,000 Gwens.
You know, what if we hive mind Gwen could be a fascinating thought. What if Gwen could just tap in and be able to control 1,000 jackalopes? You could try 1,000 Gwens though.
Well, because like I don't think having the 1,000 jackalopes hooked up to the one controller would be very effective. But if you had 1,000 Gwens, very effective, super effective. No snakes would survive.
Ooh. And then you have multi-bot with Jackalope and Usagi. So like Jackalope Usagi versus a Burmese python like 10,000 times over. That could be a 2v1 multi-bot setup right there. I don't think a python's going to beat them if that was the case. If 1,000 Gwens, 1,000 Alexes, and 1,000 pythons.
Do snakes count as entanglement devices?
Ooh. That's a good question.
Make them not allowed.
You know what?
No snakes in the cage.
Snakes in the moat. Fill the moat with snakes.
That's the punishment.
And water.
So that's the secret. Okay, so we have snakes in the water, snakes in the moat.
I love the moat.
I love the moat. I will say it is definitely ironic that we are now having to engineer rabbits to fix a problem caused by snakes being brought in because they're killing all the rabbits. That's very much like I will say there's something definitely fascinating about like all the bio animal like trends. I'm thinking of like early 2000s, like 90s movies, something like that, where they're like, we have like all these robo pets, robo dogs, whatever. I think it's just kind of super ironic that we're like going all the way around with how to deal with the problem. They're killing the rabbits. We'll make robot rabbit. You're so right. I don't know.
Not think of your robot as a pet. Is Vorion phenomenon not your thing to take care of?
No,
My child.
I think so here's the thing. If I think of Vorion or phenomenon as like living, I feel tremendous guilt because that means I'm saying them to like die repeatedly. And that feels a little bit
but that's what they're
wrong.
made for.
Yeah, but that's also like a bit
Pokemon.
wrong. I mean, So like so I guess that's
They,
the way
they
to look
don't
at
die. They just faint.
it. That's what they tell me when Luke tore Vorion in half. That they're like, he just fainted. You know what? He's fine. Give
Mhm.
it
He is
give it a
fine.
new
He's still
potion.
fighting.
Give it a potion. That one's on a shelf somewhere. Luke sent that one to the scrapyard. I think Alex has that one now. But I will say that definitely does give a new vibe of like, okay, like all the Pokemon games, are you going out into the wild, like challenging animals, like being up with them with your favorite animal? If you treat it like that, and it's like, okay, I guess if you can make your robot send it out there to fight snakes, it's just getting XP. And that could be a way like you train for nature else. I don't know. Maybe it's an idea.
Yeah, and each version is an evolution.
You know what? Maybe you're onto something.
I think
Zoe.
it lines up. I already have mine in Implusle, so I think everybody should just get on my level.
You heard it here, everybody. You heard it here. Get on her level.
Get on her level.
Want to call it out, Jake?
All right, I'll call it out for real this time. Thank you for tuning into the live podcast. Catch us on all of our streaming. Oh, we already said which streaming services we're on. Thank you very much, Zoe Lambert. You have an inspiring story. You have an inspiring team. I cannot wait to see more honey cracked action to come. Thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
See ya.
Bye.